I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean. Guaranteed. Yeah, this is going to come out a week from today, next Friday. But we're recording this on the Thursday before the 9th. I'm here with Chris, and we're going to have a call-in show today. Chris, before we bring anyone on, I want to mention that our good friend and someone who is an employee of the show, she works for the show, Leona. Sometimes we call her Lois on the show. Her house, she lives in Altadena, one of the areas that's on fire. And her house was spared as of this recording. Every house around her, every other house on her block is burned to the ground. And her house was spared. So that's, if there's any good news out of all of this bad news, I lived in LA for 30 some odd years, 31 years. I have a lot of friends there, and a lot of them are going through what seems like hell. It even looks like hell. And our heart goes out to all of you. And if there's anything I can do, and I'm not just saying this in some kind of gratuitous fashion, if anyone, Chris, that buzzing noise is happening, mute your mic. If I can help anyone in any kind of way, shape, or form, and I'm not kidding, let me know, and we will do what we can from our end. It's the Friday show, as I mentioned, and we've done these before, and people seem to like them, so we're going to do it again. It's the Friday call-in show. Kind of works almost like the VIP group works, where people just call in, and they can ask me any random question, or several questions, and we try to figure out their health and fitness needs. Chris, are you there?
I'm here.
I know we have some people here with heart outs, so let's go right in. Who do we have first?
Up first, we have Miss Kelly, and I know she has some updates for us about her NSNG journey. And I gotta say, every time we hear from her, it gives me just a little bit more confidence. This is the right way to do things. And Vinnie, I know you won't say it, but I'll say it. Leona's house being spared, it must be because she's eating NSNG. That's the only reason, right? The only logical reason that everything else around her would be burning down, just like the chaos of life.
Well, Chris,
you can't take credit for everything, but
I don't like to take credit for such things, but yes, everyone else in the neighborhood, they eat things like quinoa. So look, I'm not here to say that.
Right. Yeah. It's much easier to light grains on fire than it is to light beef on fire.
Look, I mean, if one ember hits your house and you have spelt in your pantry, I mean, it's going to go up. It's just the way it is. Look, I don't want to make light of it. The only thing you can try to do, sometimes people go too soon. What's going on out there is just atrocious, man. And I'll try to joke about it. That nothing fixes it. Nothing fixes what goes on. And I know everyone's trying to turn it into politics, going, well, if they had a better fire chief, or, okay, mate, I don't know. 100-mile-an-hour winds. You can have all the fucking water in the world. You can have every firefighter in this country and every airplane trying to, whenever every year I lived out there, every year you would have the forest fires. And when those planes would dump the water on those fires, that's like me pissing in the ocean and expecting it to come up an inch. They just drop the water and nothing happens. Now I get, they can start to contain things with fire retardants and all this kind of stuff, and all of that stuff works. But when you have 100-mile-an-hour winds, guess what? You can't put birds in the air. You can't get helicopters up there. You can't get planes up there. What's happening there is just unbelievable. And like I said, all the water in the world. I've lived through several of these. The one that right before we moved in 2019, the one that came through our neighborhood, and, missed my house by about a half a mile, right? Which is way further because Leona had people, next door neighbors on all four sides, all of them burned down. Her house and only two others are standing on her street. That's the way fire works. I don't get it, but man, it is just devastating out there. I've been meaning to call Dr. Drew all day. I think he's in a safe area. He's a little closer to LA than Altadena, and I don't think it hit his area. And I'm sure he's being bombarded. So I didn't want to talk to him. I know my buddy, Adam Carolla, he's got a house in Malibu. He actually has a condo in Malibu, and I know where the condo is. I don't know if it's safe or not. So, I have a lot of friends like that. I don't know what's happened to them. So we will find out. Chris, without any further ado, let's bring Kelly on.
Hey, Miss Kelly, give me that thumbs up if you're good to come on in. Here she is. Double thumbs up. All
Hey,
right.
Kelly.
Hey, Vinnie, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. So tell people a little bit about yourself before you start telling us about updates, so that the audience can get an idea, because you're in the VIP group.
Yes, I am.
And we've spoken before.
Yes.
And, so I know your story, but give your story to everyone else.
Okay. So I've been a Roby 2.0 since May of 2023. I have lost around 60 pounds since then. In 2014, I did have sleeve gastrectomy surgery. I was up to
Wait, what year was that?
2014.
Okay, so about 9 years before you found me on Mike Rowe's show.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that. Go on.
Yes. I was quite a bit heavier and lost 110 pounds by doing that. Then I gained about 50 back. And that's where I was when I started in May of 2023 with NSNG. And I would like to say that I wish I had found NSNG first, but I also feel like everything was part of my journey, and I learned a lot by having the surgery. I also learned what doesn't work by doing that. And I think it helps me on, with keeping true to the way that I'm eating now and the lifestyle changes that I've made. So I don't regret it. But I definitely think that NSNG or carnivore or whatever, way of eating that you want to label it, is the most healthy thing that you can do for yourself. It's not just about losing weight. It's about being healthy. And for me, that was that was one of the biggest reasons why I started back in 2023. So I also have family members that I was kind of hoping to influence. So, and I'm still doing that. So here I am now.
Let's talk, since I have someone who's actually had one of the bypass style surgeries. Kelly, I'm here to tell you, I talk to people. Now, I don't know what percentage of people who follow my protocol has actually had any kind of gastric bypass, but I do a ton of phone calls. I do these, people can call me and do consults.
Right.
Monday through Friday. I don't go a day, Monday through Friday, without one, if not two people telling me they had gastric bypass on their journey to try to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. If I can get that from a sample, right, of people that I talk to. I mean, think about it. If I told you that one or two a week out of every 5 days, you will go, damn, that's a lot. But when I'm telling you at least one a day, So yeah, I might skip Monday and Tuesday and not hear from anybody with gastric bypass. But Wednesday, there's going to be 2 or 3. Thursday, there's going to be 2. Friday, there's going to be 2. If I averaged it out, I'm getting 1.5 to 2 people per day that was in your situation. I used to yell long before I had this podcast when gastric bypass became popular. One of the first ones was called the Phobie pouch, right? Then there was the balloon, and there's the sleeve, and there's the bypass. There's about 5 different versions or more that they do around the world. And no matter which version you do, it all amounts to the same thing. Either they're cutting your stomach out or putting a restriction, putting a sleeve around your stomach so it makes it smaller, or putting a balloon in it so that you don't have as much capacity. It all does the same thing. The question is, why are these people calling me 3, 4, 5, or 10 years after they had the surgery? If the surgery worked so well,
right,
why in the hell am I hearing from anybody? I shouldn't hear. If you're 400, Scott King, who we talk about on the show all the time, he lost a couple of 100 pounds from his thing, and then he blew past 400 when it stopped working, blew past 500.
Right.
It was right at the precipice of 600. The only reason he doesn't know if he weighed 600 pounds or not is because there was no scale to weigh the man. He would have had to have gone to like a grain or a feedlot or something and get on a cattle scale to get weighed.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's not the only one. They blow right past, you just right past. You were 50 pounds up from your lowest weight. I don't mean that go off on a rant here, but it's the same thing I'm yelling about now with the GLP-1s, with the Wegovy and the Ozempic and the whole thing. I'm yelling until I'm purple in the face going, people, please don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't know how badly you don't want to do this, right? It's like, you'll see it in the podcast I put out tomorrow. It's a Friday show. I'm literally saying on the show, we're going to look back at this the way we're looking at sunscreens now, right? There's something called the Great Barrier Reef over there in Australia. It's dying. It's dying. You go ask any marine biologist why that reef is dying. It's called the Great Barrier Reef. You know why? Because it's great. It's huge. It's one of the biggest living things they've ever found in the ocean, right? This reef is alive, but is dying off. Whole sections of it looks like it's just been bleached white and is dying. And when they send every single marine biologist down and go, why is the Great Barrier Reef dying? It's because of all the sunscreen that comes off of tourists. And you think the Tasman Sea, God, I think I got the right sea. You think the Tasman Sea is so big that, what's a little sunscreen coming off of a tourist going to do, right? It's going to kill the biggest reef we know of. What else is it doing, right? If it's killing a reef, what is it doing to you? But everyone yelled at me, Vinnie, you know what you're talking about. We need sunscreen. Well, why did we need it for any time during history until 1986? We did not need it. No one had it. You're a little younger than me, Kelly. But back in our day, you put stuff on your body to get more tan.
Yeah, baby oil.
Baby oil. There was a product called Prism. I'm not kidding. Chris, look up Prism. It was Prism suntan oil. It is guaranteed to magnify what the sun does to your skin. Now, I'm not saying that that was good, and I'm not saying that baking in the sun for hours and hours. There used to be a commercial, Bain de Soleil, get the savage tan. My wife was a bikini model in Europe. She's a year older than me. Her job, if you ask her, her job was to be lean and get as dark as you can. They wanted these models. They were like, you're going to be doing this shoot in Saint-Tropez next week. We need you as close to black as we can, with your blue eyes and your blonde hair. That's what they wanted. That was, and by the way, we had less skin cancer. We had less of everything. Chris is pulling it up right now. There it is. Is that Prism?
It's Tanfastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, everything was that. My whole childhood was the copper tone. The little puppy was pulling the bikini off of the little girl, and you can see how white her butt is.
Yeah.
Right. And you get the copper tone tan. You know, Hawaiian Tropic, they had the Hawaiian Tropic girls. Guess what was the only two qualifications to be one of the Hawaiian Tropic girls?
Right.
You had to be hot and you had to be dark. You had to be tan, right? Nobody was using sunscreen. Now we have more, every problem you can imagine, and more skin cancer, more this, more that, more disease, more everything. And it's all linked to sunscreen.
And
now
seed oils,
who's right? Go on, Kelly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
seed oils, right? Seed oils?
It's the same thing, right? When guys like me were saying, don't eat Crisco, don't eat margarine. See, I didn't even get into the safflower. I didn't know. I'm going to be honest. You don't know what you don't know. I used to, I'm going to be honest with you. I used to take something called Udo's oil to get my omega-3 and omega-6s.
Mm-hmm.
I used to take seed oil by the spoonfuls. It was like, well, one time I would buy the Carlson's fish oil, and then the next time I would buy Udo's, and I would switch it back and forth. That was back before there was Whole Foods or anything. You used to have to go to like Mrs. Gooch's or any of these, hippie flip-flop. You'd walk into these things and they smelled like BO and patchouli, right? And you would buy your fish oil or your Udo's, right? And I didn't know what I didn't know, but at that time I would tell all of my clients, do not put margarine in a frying pan. Do not use margarine. Don't spread it on bread. Don't do anything.
Right.
And whatever you do not use Crisco. Crisco made a product that was supposed to look like lard, but it was whipped up seed oils.
Yeah.
Right? I knew that stuff was bad. I didn't know
Vinnie,
about the other stuff. Chris? Yeah?
What are your thoughts on using Crisco as suntan oil?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? It's the same as that's the thing. It's the same as suntan oil, right? It's the same. You would go, you would never put sun. Now everyone is saying this, right? But I was the first one saying it. The only difference between sewing machine oil, gun oil, and safflower oil is that they put odors in the sewing machine oil, like the 3-in-1 sewing machine oil. There's an odor to it to let you know, oh wait, this smells like something I'm not supposed to eat. Same with gun oil. If you dipped 3 or 4 different, dip like a Q-tip in 3 or 4 different gun oils. I can tell you which one is hops. I can tell you which one is rim oil. I can tell you which one. I go down the line. I'll tell you who made the oil because each company puts a different smell in it. And if you take the odor out, guess what you do? You put it in a bottle and you sell it as something that healthy hippies are supposed to take. Same oil.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up.
Fry your chicken in it.
I wouldn't even fry my chicken in it. You could get good oil. You could get lard, real lard.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you got to be careful with lard and tallow nowadays because they'll say this is tallow. You better read on the thing, make sure it's 100% tallow. Same with lard. Make sure it's 100% lard because some of these companies are trying to cheapen it up by putting seed oils in. Check it, folks. Check it before you press that buy now on Amazon. Check it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go off on a rant, Kelly.
That's okay. That did actually make me think of a question that I had for you.
Go on.
When you did your podcast a few weeks back with your sister-in-law, it was around Thanksgiving. And
hang on. I can't believe this. Chris, are you there?
Yeah.
Can Debbie pull the audio for this podcast from,
Yeah.
I don't know if I pressed the button to start that. The
I have,
audio.
we have the local and the cloud audio, so we can always
Okay.
pull it out of here.
Okay, yeah, we gotta pull it from this because I'm not sure if I pressed it or not. Because I don't know if green means on or red means on my Rodecaster. I can't. I'm like losing my mind. Sorry. Go on, Kelly.
No, that's okay. You were talking about Kerry Gold, the
Right.
spreadable Kerry Gold,
Mm-hmm.
and you said that it contains seed oil because if it didn't, it wouldn't be spreadable. Is that why you were saying that? Because I had some actually in my refrigerator and I looked at the ingredients and it doesn't say that it contains seed oil. It says it's naturally more spreadable or something. I don't know exactly what that means, but I wanted to check with you about that.
Well, Chris, in the background there, Chris, go look up because someone did send me a package with the spreadable, or it comes like in a little crock and it's made by Kerry Gold. And there's some of them, and I think it's even in the block form. Some of them now have seed oils in them, and it says it on the package. If it doesn't say it on the package, then it doesn't have it. But by adding
the Kerry Gold spreadable is Kerry Gold butter mixed with canola.
Okay, so there you have it.
Well, maybe the package that I had was before they started putting it on there. I don't know.
They've been doing it for about a year now, maybe 2 years.
Oh, wow. Because mine didn't say that. So, okay, well, I won't be buying that anymore.
Yeah. You know, I don't buy Kerry Gold very often anymore. We found butters better than that. And we have Amish, and Chris knows this. Chris used to live in Amish country. Mm-hmm. We have Amish folks in our area. Yeah. And they make incredible cheese and butter. And you can buy this stuff. The crazy thing, I was saying this about the Amish the other day. I was talking to one of my brothers. And I said, you know what you don't hear about from Amish? You don't hear about skin cancer. You don't hear about low testosterone. You don't hear about the disease that everyone else has. Yeah. Because they're not eating what we're eating.
Right.
Right. They're right here in the same country. Right. I see Amish people all the time. The women, they'll come get a regular job somewhere in town. They got the garb on and the whole thing. They look, and they don't wear makeup or anything. They look healthier than us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And, you know, you could goof on them. Oh, an Amish mechanic. How do you know it's an Amish mechanic? Because they got their hand up the horse's ass. All this stuff. Yeah. They are living a much better life than we are on the same land. How? How are they doing that? They look healthier than us. Spot the fat Amish person. You can't. Mm-mm. They're not eating processed junk. Right?
Right.
They're the last bastion. We used to look at the Inuits, right? I still call them the Eskimos. I don't know if that's politically correct or not, but
that's not what we see anymore, I guess.
Well, as long as they're selling Eskimo pies, I would continue to call them Eskimos. But we don't call them Inuit pies. We don't call them indigenous people pies. We call them Eskimo pies. Do we not?
We do.
Okay. So the bottom line is we used to look at the Inuits, but then we screwed the Inuits up. We started giving them our stuff. Hey, guys, you don't have to go kill that animal to get a coat and this and that. Here, we'll give you some fleece. We'll give you whatever you need. We got it all over here. We got everything you need, Inuit people. And look where they are now. They have heart disease. They have tooth decay. They have everything we have, except for the very rare, the ones that live so far out that they still live on the land. And those people are still healthy. Mm-hmm. Right? But if you want to look at the last group I've seen in this country, you got to look at the Amish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot of Amish around where I live, so I don't, but I can imagine that, because they don't have all the modern conveniences either. You know, all the electronics and all of the, you know, things that we sit around all night long watching TV or this or that. And they don't do that. You know, they are out doing all their work, and then they come in and then they go to bed at 8 o'clock because it's dark and they have to get up at 4. So
yeah. They're like Little House on the Prairie in real life.
Yeah, right.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I do some things like, you know, a lot of guys, you know, that I shoot with and everything, they'll go, wait a minute. You have a splitting axe? You chop your own wood? You know, I buy it. It's already cut. But I chop it, you know, I chop it down and I go, why don't you just get a splitter, you know, once a year? You just rent them. The splitter shows up at your house and you can just split it. It's like, and take away from that workout? Are you kidding me? This is an opportunity to not go to the gym.
Right.
Right? It's that thing where we make things so convenient that even chopping wood, we can't do anymore. 2 things happen when you chop wood, Kelly. Do you know what those 2 things are?
Not specifically. You get an aerobic workout.
You get an aerobic workout and you have to increase your eye-hand coordination.
Yeah, you better.
Right? If not, you're going to miss and screw up your axe, or you're going to chop a foot off.
Right.
You have 2 options. Right? So, you know, it's that thing where we have that little danger left in the world where you got to do it right, or there's a consequence. Now, I know I've been a bit of a hard ass here today. So tell us about you. You found me. You were 50 pounds up from your 100-pound loss. Where are we now?
Yeah. Well, now I'm about 160, which is less than I was after I lost the 110 in 2014. So I'm glad about that. I'd like to lose a little more, but I'm more concerned of just, I eat NSNG AF pretty much. I did really well. Today I am 3 weeks post-op, right knee replacement.
Okay.
So I went through the holiday, the Christmas holiday, just recovering, you know, didn't do anything, you know, I was, you know, just recovering. So I didn't have any sort of, I didn't have any parties to go to. I didn't have any, temptations to worry about. I made a bunch of food ahead of time. I cooked a bunch of steaks and chopped them all up for steak bites. I had hard-boiled eggs for days, pecans, and that's pretty much what I lived off of for about 2 weeks. And I feel like my recovery has gone much better, because I spent the previous year eating the way that I did. I think the swelling in my leg was much less. I think my recovery has gone a little bit quicker than it may have had I not been as healthy as I was prior to surgery. So I really am happy about that.
Kelly, I just did some math on you. So you say at 160 you were lower than you were before you started. So that means before you got gastric, you were at least 270?
I was 276. Okay.
You see how people say, oh, he doesn't pay attention. I did that math without even knowing your numbers. So 276. You lost 110?
Yeah.
So you went down to 166.
Yeah.
And then you put on 50 pounds. So you went up to 212.
Yeah. Actually, I was about 214 really. So
yeah, 216 if I do the math right.
Yeah, 216, yeah. Yeah.
And now you're at 160. How tall are you?
5'8".
5'8", 160. That's kind of hot. Well, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Sorry, Cal. I'm sorry. I know you're a married woman. I'm married. We shouldn't be talking like this. Anyway, 160 at 5'8". And I mean, you got to be impressed. You got to be proud of yourself, right? That you caught this, arrested it in time, and went back in the other direction.
Yeah, I'm more happy about being healthy.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to make sure that, and that was why I did the whole gastric sleeve to begin with. I mean, I wanted to lose weight, and I had been heavy, since my first pregnancy, and I had 2 kids, and their whole childhoods, I was very heavy, and I hate that. I hate the thought of that, but I was, and but now my husband and I are both 62, and we're getting to be in that age range that you really got to be careful. Everything that we've done in our past is going to catch up with us if we don't do something about it. And I really wanted to do something about it, and so I haven't had any. I don't take any medication. I do take levothyroxine for thyroid,
Okay.
which I would really love to be able to get off of. I don't know if I ever will. But I don't take any blood pressure medication. I don't take anything else. My blood pressure is good. All my blood work is good. So I am very proud. I'm very happy to be able, and I like my clothes better. I like everything better.
Yeah. Look, everything is better.
Yeah, everything's better.
There used to be an ad, everything's better with Coca-Cola. Remember that ad?
Yeah, I do.
No, it was things go better with Coke.
Things go better with Coke. Yeah.
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 And yeah. And it's the same with weight loss. It's kind of like that Coca-Cola ad. Things go better when you're thin. I mean, lean muscle mass is where we want to be as we hit our 70s. Because somewhere near our 80th birthday, no matter what, we fall off of a cliff physically. So even if you keep that trajectory going like that, you want to be healthy when we fall off of that cliff, because then there's a new category. You want to have as much lean muscle mass as you can going into that new category, meaning, 80 to 90, which is, every time I talk to my mom, she's talking about, yeah, we went to Baton Rouge today for our doctor's appointments. That's every time I talk to her. And I talk to my mom all the time, right? They're always going, it's just maintenance. You become like a Ferrari after your 80th birthday, right?
Yeah.
Every time you drive it, you got to go get it maintained. Right?
Yeah. Well, and that is my goal for 2025. Now that I've got this new knee, and hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll be done with PT, and I'll be ready to just no more test drives. I'll be able to take it out. And my goal is to lift. Well,
Good.
my goal is to gain muscle, is to gain strength, is to strengthen everything, because I have never done that, and I've always been very upper body strength, very weak. And I want to now that I'm hoping that if I fall, I want to make sure I can get up now.
Yeah.
Now that I have a new hip and a new knee.
Listen, and that's what the VIP group is for. Just keep, we could go through a whole routine on a VIP group, right? So, just let me know when you're ready. You're in that group, and we'll get right to it.
I
right?
will.
That's why that group is there. It's
February 1st is my goal.
I'm looking, and you know what? February 1st, we're going to be doing a VIP right around that time, either that day or the next day. And I expect you to be asking me weightlifting questions and running and whatever. We're going to figure it out. Okay?
All right, I will.
Well, Kelly, it was great talking to you. Congratulations. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Vinnie.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Anytime, doll. Anytime. Chris?
All right. I told you, man, she always gives me that little ray of sunshine that I need. She's, I got that new hip, got that new knee, and now I'm getting a new lease on life. And that's just the positivity that comes off of Kelly every time we talk to her. Astounds.
Chris, by the way, I wrote a note down here, but I'm going to probably lose this piece of paper. When we do our next Wednesday show, I want to do an entire show on the incredible edible egg, because Kelly was talking about that, and she's eating, beef bites and eggs and everything else. She prepared all that, she was ready whenever she had her surgery, and that's kind of what I did. Not kind of, that's what I did when I had my my shoulder replaced, and I had Serena go buy me eggs every morning. I didn't eat not one drop, not anything from the hospital. They brought the food the first day. I said, take it out of here. Please don't bring it back. They saw the ice chest in my room. Serena rolled like 2 or 3 ice chests in that room. They were shaking their heads, but they let me go a day early from this really radical surgery because they were like, there's no inflammation. They took the drain out. The drain was supposed to be there for an extra day or two. It's like, there's nothing coming out, and they couldn't understand why. It's like, oh, you just don't get inflamed. It's like, yeah, that's right. Do you want to know why? No one was interested. Let's bring Charles in, Chris.
We got our buddy Charles here with us. Charles, give me that thumbs up if you're good to go, and then you're going to have to unmute that microphone. There he is.
Hey, man.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
It was great to hear from Kelly, because I'm that guy that's getting his knee replaced in the spring here.
Yeah, we talked about that in the VIP group, didn't we?
We did. And I been looking for her on the group, just trying to see an update, and here I got one today, so that was good to hear.
Yeah, Kelly is kind of hoity-toity. She doesn't just banter with anybody in the group. So you can understand that. So how's it all going for you? Tell me about it.
Things are going well. Just some history. I found you through Corolla many years ago, but didn't really jump on till quite a bit later. I really haven't fully committed until you did this VIP group thing. I thought, well, that's a good way to do it. So I dove in. When was this? When you created it?
About a year ago.
About a year ago, yeah. So I haven't dove in head first. I kind of moved into it slowly. For example, I started going to a gym in August. I've really enjoyed the challenges because it keeps me accountable to sort of keep a diary for every day of what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the guy in the meetings poking on Chris to let's do another challenge, because for me it's kind of a reminder every day to stay on track. But to give you more background, I a little bit younger than you, but not too much. I grew up very active. My family are a bunch of skiers. I don't remember learning to ski. I've been skiing since before I can remember. Yeah. So I'm a really good skier. I live in a place where I can ski fairly
You're in
often.
Colorado, if I remember right.
No, I'm in Central Oregon.
That's what I meant to say, Oregon.
Yeah. Near Mount Bachelor, Hoodoo, Willamette Pass, Mount Hood, Timberline, etc. So, but I also played hockey. I was very active in hockey. I was a goaltender. So I was not only very active, I was very flexible, which I've kind of retained even into my being an old fat guy. But I also, in college, I was playing club hockey, but we wanted to start an intramural one. And I remember the guy who ran intramural sports said, well, I'll let you do it if you find some referees. So I volunteered to start refereeing hockey. And I did that actually professionally for probably 15, 20 years after school. Really? Yeah, I got a chance to work all over the US and Canada, in Europe. I was doing men's, collegiate, kids, junior hockey, professional hockey. It was a fantastic, I always tell people it's the best management training I ever had, because if you're wearing stripes in a group of, 40 guys wearing knives trying to kill each other, if you can manage that, you can manage anything. That served me in my corporate career. What really kind of derailed me is two things. When I was in my mid-20s, I had a catastrophic knee injury.
Oof.
I had 3 surgeries. I thought I could bounce back from it. I tried to. Um, I finally, after my 3rd surgery, my doctor said, if you want to be able to walk when you're an old man, you got to quit playing. So I quit playing hockey because it was just really doing a number on my knee. And now I have, this many years later, I am still walking thanks to the doctor telling me that, but I don't walk well. I have one leg shorter than the other. I have a
Mm.
limp. I have pretty extreme pain. If I were to like go out and walk my dogs for 2 miles, I would be in pretty bad shape.
Oh,
How I still ski is beyond me, but I managed to do it. But I also was in a very terrible marriage, essentially, to a depressed alcoholic for 25 years, and that nearly killed me. The only pleasures in life I had were stuffing my face with shitty food. So I wasn't playing hockey. I wasn't skiing very much because I lived away from a ski area, and I was in a miserable marriage. And I got a wake up call. I went and saw my doctor. He took some blood one day. I was feeling a little weird, not bad. And then I actually went to another state to visit some family, and I got a call from my doctor saying, "When you get this call, go to the emergency room and have them call me."
oh, Jesus.
And I had driven somebody in my family to their job that morning, and I got that message on my phone, which had come in the middle of the night, but I didn't get it. And I drove to an emergency room feeling, for the most part, okay.
Yeah.
And they repeated the test the doctor did. And I remember the ER doctor telling me to my face, "I have never seen anybody with your numbers who was either not in a coma or dead."
Wow.
And there I was feeling actually
And what
like I
numbers were they? What numbers were they referring to, Charles?
they were referring to primarily my triglycerides, which were in the thousands, and also pretty much all my cholesterol numbers, blood sugar, everything, just completely out of whack. So I was in the hospital, I want to say about 3 days, and they kind of got me stabilized, and I was on insulin for, I don't know, I want to say about a year and a half.
Yeah.
I was on a lot of drugs. And my endocrinologist actually put me on a drug, which I think was a miracle. But much like you're hearing stories of these days of people getting denied by insurance, I was on this drug for probably 3 years, and my numbers all got into the normals except for some of the cholesterol and my triglycerides, which to this day still aren't in the normal range. But they basically said, "Well, your A1C is non-diabetic, so you don't need this drug anymore. So we're going to yank it from you." And of course, as soon as they did that, everything went
Yeah,
cattywampus.
right, because it was artificially down.
Correct.
Can I break in right there, Charles?
Sure.
See, that's the thing about drugs,
Mhm.
right? They can artificially lower numbers. That's the thing I say about the GLP-1s also. You see the commercials and say, "Hey, take our GLP-1 and you can get as low as a 7.0 in your A1Cs, right?" And I'll go, "Oh, okay. So they're telling you to take a drug that will keep you perfectly sick artificially. So
Yeah.
you haven't done anything. You haven't taught the person how to live without the drug or maybe how to get off of the drug. So yeah, the insurance company doesn't want to keep paying for a fast acting insulin for you. They don't care about you. Like you're a number. They don't know that Charles is this loving man who loves to play hockey and go skiing. You're a number. That's all you are. Nothing more, nothing less. This number is now not in, we've artificially gotten him down, and then they take you off of the thing and you go right back up. So when do all right, you hear me on Corolla, you hear me yapping week in and week out. I was on that show like every other week for years, right?
Mhm.
I was a regular cast member. When did you finally decide, what the hell? Let me go see what this jerk off is doing.
Well, I actually went through 2 cycles of that. One was right after my diagnosis, and I was living alone because I split up with my ex. And this was before you. I I was just trying to lose a bunch of weight and get off the insulin and all that. So I basically ate nothing but lean protein and green vegetables for like a year and a half. And that actually, along with the drug that I was on, got me down very quickly. I lost um, about 80 pounds, and um, my numbers got good, and everything was really kind of going well. And then over time, I just sort of slacked off a little.
Yeah.
Slowly started building back up. Now I haven't come anywhere close to my peak in terms of weight, but I kind of stabilized around 260 or so. Right when I started kind of figuring out this isn't good, and right before my diagnosis, I was a couple of pounds shy of 300, which scared the hell out of me. But really, what got me back in, I've been listening to your podcast for a while. I dove in when you did this VIP thing, and I should be moving faster, but it's taken me a while to get around to like joining a gym and doing the lifting and all that. And actually, I was on a pretty good track just on the diet alone. And then I hit this, and you and I have talked about this before in a VIP group meeting, but I stopped losing and actually gained a little bit. But I think that was all lean muscle because my clothes continue to fit better. I keep getting smaller, but my weight stayed about the same, about 12 pounds under where I was averaging, but not moving any further. I'm happy to report, small progress report here, that I've actually started losing again right after the holidays. Eating better again, going to the gym pretty much 4 times a week, I would say. And I just got on the scale a couple days ago, and sure enough, I'm back down probably about 4 pounds under where I have been for the last 3-4 months.
Let me explain what's happening there. So, trainers, like trainers who were not good, like the bad trainers in LA, they would always tell people, oh yeah, you haven't lost weight because you're putting on so much muscle. Well, the average person, you put on muscle very slowly, right? So, it takes a while to see that, the muscle gain, 4, 5, or 6 pounds per year for a guy your size, right? You might get 5 pounds in that first year, 4 pounds. So you'll go, well, Jesus Christ, what was happening? When you first start working out, just like anything else, your muscles, some inflammation, your muscles aren't used to things. Your muscles will hang on to a shit ton of water, right? Just to, is trying to get those muscles to recuperate. So you can gain 8, 10, 12 pounds in water while your body's trying to regulate the whole, starting to work out thing. So that's more likely what was happening back then. But now you're starting to reap the benefits of that because your body's starting to stabilize, which is good, right?
Yeah, I feel good.
Does that make more sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And also, I will say that, when I started lifting, there were some exercises that I could barely do. There were some muscles that I just didn't even have. What are these triceps back here?
Yeah.
There was a thing where you're kind of doing like a dip, but
Mhm.
lifting a weight with it on the machine. And I could barely do anything on that. And now I can do practically my body weight on it. So it's been a pretty significant change, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it when I get on my skis, like everything feels a lot better. I'm feeling it when I'm, just kind of doing everyday things, working anything with my body, lifting things up and moving things around. I feel like I have significantly more strength than I did 6 months ago.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That look, it takes a while. All of it takes a while. So no, that's good.
I think it's great. I'm not expecting. It took me nearly 2 years to lose the 80 I did the first time around. It won't bother me if it takes me that same amount of time. I would like to. One of my sons is getting married in the summer, and I would like to get down to a reasonable weight before then. So that I do have a goal in mind, because I want to look good on that day because my ex will be there. because yeah, I'm that guy.
I was going to ask if she's still alive. Did she get her shit together?
I don't know. She has like cut off all contact with me. She took a shit ton of money from me and ran off to another place in the world. So
That's all good and fine. I think we've all had. Everyone has an alcoholic in their life, or two or three, right? And I hope that at some point I'm a big believer in the 12-step program, right? Because I've seen it work for family, and I've seen it work for friends.
Yeah.
And literally, two people who wouldn't be here right now, just would not be here, right?
Yeah.
And if they just find that courage just for one day to walk into a 12-step meeting and just go down that road, there is life after you're drinking. You're always an alcoholic and you can always regress, but man, I have seen 12-step programs work like a charm.
And I remember her parents were very much involved in that because they had the same issue. But I don't think she ever really admitted that she had one. And to this day, like one of my kids, I have two kids with her, and one of them, he just refuses to drink. He just never will because he saw what it did to his mother. The other one, my other kid, he seems like me. It's like, I like alcohol, but I don't drink it very often. It's just one of those things that's like a special occasion or whatever. It's not super important in my life. And I can go, I have had clients, for example, give me really nice bottles of whiskey that I have owned for 20 years because I'm
the same way. I got some Blantons upstairs that's 15, 20 years old and it's just never been opened. Charles, I want you to do something for me.
Sure.
All right. You got something to write with?
Of course I do.
All right.
Here's my pen.
He said that very confidently before he started looking for it. I love that.
Well, I knew there was one here on my desk. Don't give me guff there, Chris. Okay.
All right. First name, Errol, Erroll.
Like Errol Flynn.
Yeah, like Errol Flynn. Last name, Garner, Garner.
Going with the jazz pianist.
Okay. Now, what I want you to say for me, I want you to say it's 5 after the hour.
We have Errol Garner.
We have 5 after the hour. We have Errol Garner.
We have Errol Garner
with his song Misty.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want you to put all that together. You ready? Go.
It's 5 after the hour. We have Errol Garner and his song Misty.
I know what you're talking about.
NPR.
Thank you. Yeah, NPR. No, he's more of a jazz.
And now, all things considered.
He can do it, man. Yeah.
I've had a lot of people tell me that in my life, but whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that you were like a hockey player because you sound like
the dulcet tones of Charles Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the movie Play Misty for Me?
I recognized when you went there. It's a little before my time, but I recognize it.
Yeah, the actress in that movie, she's so beautiful. She died young. I want to say she's from Alabama. I can't think of her name right now, but she's this gorgeous woman. She was kind of a big deal back in the early 70s. Then she ended up on Love Boat every other week. Chris, look up the actress. I want to say she died before she hit 70.
Jessica Walter,
right? And was she from Alabama? Where's she from?
She was in Brooklyn.
Like I said, Brooklyn, Alabama. But Jessica
she died in 2021, so maybe it wasn't her.
You wouldn't know. Jessica Walter was just as beautiful. God, she was just so beautiful. And that movie, just so crazy. I'm talking batshit crazy. And of course, wow, I haven't seen that movie in 20 years. I got to go watch it again. Great movie.
I remember Clint Eastwood drives a Jag in that.
Yes, he does. I thought he drove. No, somebody else drove a Corvette. Yeah, he does. He has a Jag. Let's see, Jessica.
An XK150, I think. I'm a car guy, so
Yeah, so you would know. Yeah, Jessica Walter, such a beautiful woman. I think Jessica Walter was also in my buddy's sitcom, Dean Laurie's sitcom, if I'm not mistaken. I thought she
No.
died.
Recently, she was Arrested Development. That's what.
Yeah,
Most
that's the one I'm
would
talking
know.
about. That's Dean Laurie's show. The guy I wrote my book with.
She was also one of the voices in Archer.
Archer cartoon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
she was
Dean has
Mallory.
something to do with that too. That whole group. Yeah, and like I said, this woman, just this kind of odd beauty. I don't know why I thought she grew up in Alabama, but yeah, just this odd beauty, just a very beautiful woman. And when she was young, she was just striking. And yeah, she was the woman in Play Misty for me. Chris, have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think I have.
You got
I have seen Vinnie. Probably what has to be the number one, and I say that utterly sarcastically, Jim Henson show that she was one of the stars of, Dinosaurs.
Really?
But I don't think.
Yeah, Jessica Walter
Yeah,
never
throw that on
gets
the
old
list.
for me. She's one of those women that's just, she was beautiful on day one, and she was beautiful when she was older. She's just one of those classic beauties. And go look at her. Not a whole lot of pumping up ladies, not a whole lot of filler and Botox and all that. She wore her wrinkles proudly, and she looked good. So boom. So Charles, thanks for giving us that lead into that song.
Oh, you're welcome.
Are you impressed that I knew it was done by Errol Garner?
I didn't know that.
I think he was one of the original guys I think he was the original guy because everyone did it after him. Well, Charles, keep up the great work, man. And I can't wait to hear about your new hip and your new knee.
Just knee, not a hip. My hips are great. My
Trust me,
ankles are great.
I watched you hockey guys. You got the legs going down, boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always wondered why you didn't just lay across the damn thing and just stick your mitt up whenever it went high.
Because it doesn't work that way, Vinny. You got to cut off the angles.
Ice.
It's all about geometry.
I know. It's an amazing sport. You know,
Charles said something, Vinny. He said, I was a goalie and I was really flexible. I don't know anyone that played goalie, either hockey or soccer, that does not have jacked up knees. I would say the same thing for baseball catchers.
Yeah. It's very common. Very, very common. And now the new style that they play in, because now the equipment is like super lightweight and they can cover the bottom of the net better. They're trashing their hips as well. So it's kind of good that I got out of it when I did, to be honest with you.
You know, by the way, Charles, you're not, I've had 2 NFL referees.
Oh, really?
I won't give their names that I do consults with. They do. One of them still does consults with me. And I'm like, wow, and I see one of them on television, right? He's one of the ones that gets to talk. Like,
Nice. And
I'm like, wow, that guy's in NSNG. And I can't say who it is because it's a private thing. But they found me. So now I have a hockey referee and 2 NFL guys. Come on, NBA. Come on.
Well, they're all on the take, aren't they? In the NBA, aren't those guys like part of the betting scheme?
No, they just don't follow the rules like traveling in the NBA.
Yeah, NBA. I think most of them are blind. It's like all the things they taught us in basketball, they don't do in the NBA. It's like, oh wait, you can stop dribbling and take 6 steps. Didn't know that. It's just crazy what they get to do. But yeah, a couple of these guys you see on television, because at the end of the day, these guys want to keep their jobs and they can't gain weight. They got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. We had to stay fit. We were tested every year, and you were assigned games based on your fitness level. If you could not keep up with the players you were working with, you were not going to get those jobs. And the higher levels pay really well, Plus,
Yeah.
you get your travel covered and all that. So, yeah, you have to be able to skate goal line to goal line. Well, now they don't. Now they go blue line to goal line, but
Yeah.
they do that for 60 minutes while everyone else is jumping off the ice every 2 minutes. Those guys are going full on. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you be in great shape to be able to do that. I miss it. I miss it a lot.
Well, that's what these guys are telling me, and this will might give away. Usually the people, the NFL guys are not the guys standing in the backfield just watching the linemen trying to hold the defensive line. It's the ones that need to run with the DBs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when you think about it, they're running the whole game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Back and forth. Well, Charles, thanks for coming on, man.
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
Chatting, and please come back.
Will do.
Villa Capelli olive oil. Villa Capelli olive oil is the best olive oil on the planet. I'm telling you that for a reason. Well, the reason is they pay me. But before they ever paid me a dime, we talked about Villa Capelli on this show every single week. We just talked about them because we love the product. Anna and I figured out one of our early guests was the guy who wrote the book Extra Virginity. It was the first time I heard that you can cut olive oil up to 40% and still call it 100% pure olive oil in this country. I hope that RFK or whoever's in there will stop that BS. But in the meantime, you could go to Villa Capelli, let them know we sent you, put in promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, and you'll get 10% off every time. Villa Capelli. Chris, are you there, Chris?
Yes, sir.
We had two good guests today. Well, I knew both of them from the VIP group, but I love that. I love these people. It's great.
Man, Charles got me over here wanting to watch some hockey now. That's something I haven't done much recently. I used to be a big hockey fan, but that to me is a little bit like baseball. I love baseball, but I just can't get into it because there's too many games. Right?
Well,
and nothing matters till October.
I know. I used to get into it more when Tallulah was younger because that was one of the things we did together. You know, we go to the Dodger games or we go Weiss Dodgers. There was this little bar restaurant down the street. We can walk from our house, and Tallulah and I would walk down the street and sit in that place, you know, and get the chicken wings or what have you, and sit there and watch a game and the whole deal. And yeah. And then when she got old enough to drink, well, she wasn't quite old enough to drink, but, you know, she was like 20. We would go in and she would have a beer. And I would actually have a beer with her. And of course, I don't drink beer. So twice a year, 3 times a year, I would have a beer with my stepdaughter. And it was like a thing we did together. I was just proud to sit there and go, wow, I'm having a beer with my daughter and this is great. And we would watch baseball. It was just kind of a fun thing. But yeah, I love watching sports. You know, we're getting into football now. We're getting into the playoffs. That's happening this weekend. Chris, by the way, the show we're going to do next Wednesday, meaning, folks, if you want to hear a really cool show, Chris, write this down. I want to do a whole show on Wednesday on the virtues of eating eggs. So that show will come out. If you're listening to this show, go back 2 days and listen to the last show. We're going to do a whole show on the virtues of eating eggs. So, Chris, get your egg game on. Go on,
Vinny. I thought eggs were way too high in cholesterol. I thought that was a problem.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about cholesterol. We're going to talk about, you know, things that, you know, I have thoughts on eggs, and you know, it drives me nuts that people like Michael Greger and some of these people in the vegan community will say crappy things like, even if you eat 1 egg per week, you can get type 2 diabetes, which is impossible, right? They're literally in the vegan community. There's a guy posing as a doctor. He's not a real doctor. Well, he does have a PhD, but he's never done his residency. He's never become an MD, even though he says he is. So that's one lie. The other lie is that if you eat even 1 egg a week, it will actually cause type 2 diabetes. I kid you not. I'm going to talk about the other side of eggs and what they actually do for you. See, I don't have the ability to lie. I wish I did. If I was able to lie, I'd be rich. But I can't lie, so I'm not rich. It's not the only way to get rich.
It's a. It seems to be a little more consistent, though.
Yeah, it does. You know, politicians lie, and they seem to get rich. They get jobs that pay $100,000 a year, and they leave office millionaires and living in mansions. So I don't know how that works. Actually, I do, but I'm pretending I don't know how that works.
I know you're a big Twitter/X person. Are you familiar with the Congressional Stock Pick Tracker?
No.
So there is an account on X that does nothing but follow the stocks that senators and Congress people buy because they have, an above Warren Buffett level of success. And so it's like, hey, we just saw that this congressperson bought a bunch of shares of this. Maybe you want to go get it.
You know what?
I wonder why.
Chris, give me that offline. I'd like to go check it out, and I'll follow it I'm not just going to go willy nilly. I'll follow it for a while because, as you know, if I wasn't doing a health and fitness podcast, I would be doing what Dave, our
buddy Dave Ramsey. Yeah.
Dave Ramsey's doing, right? People have asked me, why don't you do that? I say, because Dave Ramsey's doing a great job of it. I'm interested in things like that. So, yeah. Chris, I do have another show to do here, so I'm going to have to close this one down. You know what to do? We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com. Puts a little coal on the fire, gets our train down the track, keeps the show free. We also have the Superfan page. There's other ways to help us out. We have the Superfan page. The VIP is closed right now, but put your name in. The next time we open it, you can be in. Chris, I guess the hats, we've shut down the VIP hats at this point, right? So if you don't have a hat, you're not going to get one. It's shut down by the time the show comes out, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so the cool VIP hat is coming out, the one that was designed by our very own Leona. And so on behalf of, who do we have on the show? We had Kelly, right?
And Mr. Charles Thomas. Yeah.
And Charles and Chris. On behalf of them, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with just a little more of Errol Garner.